weighs 19 grams. Okay, let's see how much everything weighs. So the beaker weighs 97 grams. The magnets on top of it weigh 214 grams. Now let's put the superconductor on and see if it increases weight. Okay, here we go. 234 grams. Take it off. 213 grams. Put it on. 236 grams. So you can see that the weight still increases even though it's levitating on top. I can actually set stuff on the superconductor. Let me set my lens cap on here. And you'll see that the weight goes up even more as if I'm just setting it on the scale by itself, 248 grams. So it's as if there is actually a material in between there supporting the weight. So there you go, putting a superconductor on a scale does increase the weight as if you're just setting it on the scale normally. Okay, so why did the weight increase when we put the superconductor on the scale? Well, that's because even though it's floating and levitating there, the reason it's floating and levitating is because it has a repulsive force from below it. And so the force is getting translated up into the superconductor. So just like if you have two repelling magnets, if you push on one magnet, it can push the other one away. So imagine this were a scale and this were the superconductor. If the superconductor is going to support itself, it's pushing down. So it has to push down to oppose gravity. And that pushing down translates into the scale below. So even though it's levitating there, it's still pushing below it. So it's almost as if the superconductor is just in contact with the scale. There's nothing special going on. So even though it's levitating there, it's still pushing below it. So it's almost as if the superconductor is just in contact with the scale. There's nothing special going on. Any force that's going on with the superconductor gets translated below. In fact, even when I just set the superconductor by itself when it's not cold on a scale, the superconductor isn't touching anything on the scale. It's actually the repulsive forces of the electrons in the scale and the superconductor pushing against each other. Okay, let's see how much everything weighs. Okay, let's see how much everything weighs. Same thing as with a normal object. When you set something there, it's the electrical repulsive forces of the electrons in both materials pushing against each other. So when it's cold, it's actually just replacing that electric force that normally repels it. With a magnetic force. So in both cases, there's this force that acts at a distance, repelling and pushing on the scale. So the only frictionless motion that you're going to get with a superconductor is internally inside of it with the electrons moving inside. So a current can go frictionless in there, but the superconductor itself can't move frictionless in the environment.
So I hope this answers some of your questions.